At the end of the interview, the interviewer is going to ask you, what questions do you have for me? So watch this video to know what types of questions to ask that will make you look like an interested and valuable candidate. Hi, I'm Renee, the career coach, and if you're new to my channel, I have been a recruiter for several years, have interviewed thousands of candidates, and worked very closely with hundreds of hiring managers. So I know exactly what recruiters and hiring managers are looking for, and I'm sharing all that information with you. You need to have questions ready in your interview because it raises concern for the interviewer when you say, "Oh, I'm good, I don't have any questions." Just as much as they're making sure that you're a good fit for the position, you need to make sure that it would be a good fit for you. Before we go into a full list of different questions that you can ask and why you should ask those certain questions, we're going to go over 3 things that you should not do and questions that you should not ask. So number 1, try and avoid any questions that have a yes or no response. You want to get a little bit more out of the interviewer and have it be more of a conversation. Number 2, try not to ask any questions that will make it look like you did not do your research beforehand. For example, don't ask, "What does this company do?" or "What would I be doing in this role?" or "How much money does this job pay?" Make sure to check out my video, which is linked in the description below, titled "Things You Should Never Say in an Interview," because there's a full list in there that go into a lot more detail on things you shouldn't say. And number 3, a big pet peeve for some recruiters that I have worked really close with is when they feel like the candidate is interviewing them. For myself personally, I don't tend to mind this as much, but I have been asked questions that just don't help the candidate at all because I am the recruiter and I don't necessarily work on the same team that they'll be in, or I don't work under their manager. And so when they're asking me questions like, "How long have you been here? What did you do before you came here? Why did you come to this company? What do you do on a day-to-day basis?" Now, these aren't horrible questions to ask, but you need to keep in mind who you're talking to and who you're asking these questions to. For example, the question, "What do you do on a day-to-day basis?" does not pertain to this person at all if I were to answer it, because I'm a recruiter. And so what I do on a day-to-day basis is completely different than what you would do if you were working on the finance team or in the marketing department. So you need to keep in mind who you're asking these questions to and tailor your questions a little bit more around them. Really, the questions that you ask in an interview should help you determine these 3 things. So insight into your day-to-day responsibilities and their expectations of you, insight into the company culture and the people that you would be working with, and insight into when you will hear back and what the next steps are going to be. So breaking this down even further, questions that will give you insight into your responsibilities and their expectations of you. Some really great questions to ask, and these questions should be tailored more towards the hiring manager or somebody that's going to be overseeing you, not necessarily the recruiter or anyone in HR. But some really good examples of questions to ask that will help you gain this knowledge are the following. Can you walk me through a typical day here at this company? What key performance indicators would you expect to see me hit within the first 30, 60, or 90 days? If I were hired for the position, would I be going through any training prior to actually starting the work? And what does that training look like? And what would a successful hire look like in this role? The next one here is you want to ask questions that will give you insight into the company culture and the people that you would be working with. And these questions would be pretty great to ask the recruiter, or some of them you can also ask the hiring manager, but just kind of know that these could be better tailored towards a recruiter. What is the company culture like? What is the team size? And can you tell me a little bit about them? And why is this position open? And if you research the company beforehand and find maybe a challenge that they've faced recently in the news, you can highlight that. If saying, I saw blank in the news, how is the company overcoming that? Okay, and the third part here, questions that will give you better insight into the full interview process and when you should expect to hear next steps. Again, these questions would be great to ask at the end of any phase, but mostly with the recruiter. What does the full interview process look like moving forward? When are you expecting somebody to start in this role? And when can I expect to hear back from you? There you have it, a full list of different questions that you can ask. And if you go and do your own research and find other questions, know that you can tailor them around these types of areas. If you feel more prepared going into your next interview, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. If you want more great career advice, go ahead and subscribe to my channel because I am constantly uploading content that will help you whether you're in a job search or if you just want more information that will help you in your career. If you want additional help with your interviews, go ahead and download my interview checklist. It's linked in the description below. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.